Hello you guys, welcome back to the Peace, Love, and Happiness Club YouTube channel. My name's Nathan and today I'm here to show you my top 5 favorite plants that stay a bit smaller. So a lot of us are starting to become really limited on space with how many plants we have in our collection, or some of us are just working with smaller spaces to keep our plants in. So I figured I would share with you some plants that tend to stay a bit on the smaller side. A lot of these plants are also quite a bit easier to care for, so they're perfect for beginners. The first plant that I have to share with you guys is just your standard succulent. You can pick these guys up at just about any plant store, home garden center, or even the grocery store, and they make the perfect plant to keep in small spaces. You can see we've got some really adorable little 2-inch guys here. While they can get big over time, these guys are pretty slow growers, and if you're keeping them in a smaller pot, you'll definitely keep that growth smaller and more compact. You want to give these guys lots of bright light and water very, very sparingly. These guys are totally fine drying out between waterings. One thing to be mindful of when you are watering them is to keep the leaves on the drier side. Their leaves are prone to fungal infections, so if you're letting the water sit on the leaves after you've watered, you might run into issues where you'll start to notice some little brown spots on the leaves that will start to turn mushy. But aside from that, these guys are the perfect small plant for the entry-level plant collector. This next one is one that I absolutely love because they are so easy to stick anywhere and add some greenery to your space, and that is Tillandsia. These guys definitely stay on the smaller side when you're growing them in your home. You want to give them a little extra humidity and then bright indirect light. They're fine with a little bit of lower light. You want to mist them here and there when you think about it. And then every couple of weeks, you want to give them a good soak in some room temperature water. And then after you pull them out of the water, you're going to want to flip them upside down to let the water drain out of the inside of the plant. This will help prevent any rotting that could occur from water staying in between those leaves. But these are a really fun one to toss on a bookshelf or add to any sort of arrangement because they are air plants. They don't need soil to live in, so a really fun one to style in your space. This next one I have been absolutely loving this summer, and that is lithops or living stones. These are the ultimate easy care plant that stay small. So there are tons of different cultivars of these guys, but here we've got 2 different more common varieties. These guys, you want to go really, really light on the watering for them. They're native to South Africa in really rocky, arid areas, so they like well-draining soil. And then these guys are a bit slower to grow as well. Typically, they'll only have around like 2 to 4 leaves. So when these guys are growing, you'll start to notice, like on this one here, the new growth will emerge out of the center, and then the old foliage will eventually die back. But you want to give these guys, once again, lots of bright light and let them really dry between waterings. Another one that likes to stay dry and stays relatively small in the home is just about any cacti that you'll find at just about any plant store. These guys are really slow growers, and once again, you want to really let the soil dry between waterings and give them lots of bright light. These guys are the perfect plant to stick in a windowsill. Just set it and forget it, and it is a beautiful way to add some greenery to your space. There's lots of different varieties of cacti, so you can get lots of different looks with them. This next one that stays a bit smaller is one of the first plants that really got me into houseplants, and that is because how many different varieties there are, and that is Peperomia. So these guys are pretty slow growers, and once again, very, very easy to care for. Bright indirect light and letting the soil dry will do them just fine. They do appreciate a little extra humidity if you can provide it to them, but it's definitely not crucial for their survival. But you can find them in 4-inch pots, or sometimes you can even find them in little 2-inch pots. These guys are pretty slow to grow, so perfect for a small space. One thing that's really fun about growing Peperomia is how easy they are to get to bloom. So it is not uncommon to see little inflorescence popping up on your Peperomia plant. You can make more Peperomia through pollinating these inflorescence. However, these guys are more often propagated through leaf propagation, which is a really fun way to multiply your plants in your space. Another great plant to add to your collection that stays on the smaller side is a jewel orchid. These are a super fun one to add to your collection because there is so many different types to collect and they have such beautiful foliage. These guys definitely appreciate a little extra humidity, but pretty standard orchid care on these guys will do them just fine. I think a lot of times when we think of orchids, you think of your standard phalaenopsis with those elongated green leaves, but something like a jewel orchid is a beautiful way to get some more exciting foliage from an orchid. Okay, this next one also stays a bit on the smaller side, and that is the African violet. These were one of the first houseplants, and they are so beautiful and fun to collect. Once again, there's so many different varieties with these guys, so the possibilities really are endless. I absolutely love watching these guys bloom, and their fuzzy little leaves are so adorable. These would be the perfect plant to toss on a windowsill. While they do require a little extra care, I would say they are the perfect plant for a smaller space. All right, this next one is a whole lot of fun to keep in your collection and one that people will definitely ask you about when they see your plants, and that is any carnivorous plant like this Venus flytrap that we've got here. These guys tend to stay on the smaller side when you're growing them in your home. You want to give them a little extra humidity and definitely stay on top of that watering. But they are such a unique plant and really cool. Okay, this next one I rarely hear people talking about, but it really is the perfect plant for a small space, and that is a resurrection plant. So if you can find one of these, when you pick it up, it'll be a brown shriveled ball and it won't look like it's alive. But if you soak these guys in water, they quickly come back to life and they make a beautiful green mossy display. These guys definitely are on the slower growing side, so the perfect plant for a small space. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I gave you some inspiration for some smaller plants that would be perfect to add to your collection if you're working with a smaller space or if you are absolutely overflowing with plants and are running out of room. Most of these plants are pretty much always available in our stores or on our website. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn on those post notifications. I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.